What did you think when you heard about this movie?
I met with Pete, and I didn't know Pete, but I was been a fan for a long time, and I met with him, and I don't know, I just was, his enthusiasm got me, and the way he talked about the dynamic between the two brothers, that relationship, and I'd seen Friday Night Lights. I like Taylor a lot in that, and that's kind of what got me more than, I mean, I knew that it would be big and fun, but I really, the relationship between the two brothers was the thing that got me excited about it. And the fact I was a little, this is kind of my first big tentpole studio movie, and what I liked about, I mean, Pete is an actor himself, and I was afraid that because it's such a huge movie, my concern was what's it like when you work on a movie like that, and for you as an actor, is it about like say your lines and then get to the explosions? That's because I've heard stories from other friends that are actors that have worked on big movies, and they haven't always had a great time on it because they feel like it's the director's just driven by passion for the explosions and the action sequences, and not so much the characters. And but like I said, Pete's an actor himself, and you could tell just the first meeting with Pete that he really cares about these characters in the movie and their relationships, and that it's not a transportation to get to the explosions. That's what builds the movie and holds it together. And he delivered. I really felt that when we shot it as well, that he really cared about the characters and the relationships, and he was very open. That was another thing I asked him about. What's it like if you have ideas working on a movie of this scope? If there's things you want to change, if you have ideas, he was like, well, let's just talk about it, and if you want to rewrite stuff, send me ideas, and we'll work on it. And even on the date, we're flexible. We have that opportunity to play around with it. And like I said, he really delivered on that. I always felt that he was very open to collaborating on ideas and something to the table, and it was very playful and organic the way we shot it, which felt kind of weird because I came from a movie called Melancholia. I did those two back to back, and Melancholia is a Lars von Trier movie, very European art house. And I went from shooting that in Sweden to Hawaii in Battleship, and the contrast is obviously pretty huge from a small European art house movie to Battleship. But it was interesting when I was in front of the camera with the other actors and working with Pete behind the camera, and that playfulness and that I felt on Melancholia, I really felt that on Battleship as well, that we were really allowed to have fun and discover new things on the day when we shot as well.
Well, you were mentioning how he cared about the characters. What can you say about your character, Commander Stone Hopper, and the relationship with his brother, played by Taylor Kitsch? What kind of a man is he?
Well, he is the older brother. He is the responsible brother. He cares a lot about his brother, his younger brother. And it hurts him that he doesn't do anything. He's got so much. He's such a intelligent, and he's got so much talent and so much. He's so capable, but he just doesn't do anything with his life. He's 26, and he doesn't really have a drive and motivation in life. And I think Stone doesn't really know how to deal with that, because I think his philosophy has always been to let Hopper, fall, make mistakes, but learn how to get up on his own rather than being helped up by his older brother. But it gets to a point where Stone is just, this is too much. I can't sit back and just watch my brother screw up his life the way he is. He's 26. It's time for him to grow up, and I need to kind of help him, put him on the right track, and show him the path, you know, or a path, whatever it is, because he's just like this now.
And then hell breaks loose around them. That must be pretty spectacular, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. We shot like first half on out in Hawaii, and it was great to start out there because we were on real ships. We were there for RIMPAC before we started shooting. I went out with Pete and a couple of other guys and got to spend time on a couple of U.S. Navy destroyers, and even got to fly out to the USS Ronald Reagan, the aircraft carrier, which was a pretty spectacular experience. And it was great doing that. It was about 2 months before we started filming it. So it was just great to get that. I mean, playing a commanding officer of one of these ships, it's a big task, and I wanted, obviously, to get it right. So it was very helpful being out there, and they took great care of us. So it was great doing that first, and then we shot in Hawaii for about a month and a half. Real, you know, Pearl Harbor on the Missouri. It was a great experience. And then after that, we went to do some stuff on sound stages in Louisiana, with the green screen, and that's when, you know, with all when all hell breaks loose. Which is always kind of, I've done some green screen work before, but not on this level, this magnitude before. It's you really have to use your imagination a lot, because there's like a gigantic green wall with dots on it, and then you know, Pete is screaming things at you, and now this is happening, and now this thing is flying towards you, and now this thing is happening over there, and you're like, oh no, wow. We had a lot of fun doing that.
How was Taylor like to work with?
Oh, he's a blast. He's a very funny guy, very hardworking guy, and I hope. I mean, we definitely found something. I hope that chemistry, and I hope it comes across. It's just important to get that in the beginning of them. You really need to feel the love between these two brothers. Otherwise, you don't really care, you know. I think that's always one of the challenges on a big action movie, that if you're not invested in the characters or the relationships, if you don't care about them, then it doesn't matter how great the explosions look or how cool the monsters or aliens look. You're not invested. It doesn't really matter. Like, so it was just important for us to find. I mean, they start off like this because Stone is trying to, but it comes out of love. He wants his brother to succeed and grow up and take care of himself. And we talked a lot about that, and just finding the fact that they have fun together as well. They like each other. They like each other's company, and they obviously care about each other deeply.
You were mentioning the good connection you had with Peter from the beginning. What did he like on set? Pete's crazy.
He's, but in the best, in the most. I mean, it's lovely. He's so. Like I said, I don't know. I feared that it would be like very rigid or very. I didn't, like I said, it's my first big studio movies. I didn't know like what's gonna be like. Is you know, if you want to change one word, is that you need to sit around and wait, get clearance from 25 studio execs, you know. But Universal really trusted Pete and trusted him and trusted his vision and his talent. And it was very, very playful and very, we had a lot of fun on set. We really did. And it was a challenge sometimes because Pete would come up with things, and behind the camera, he would feel things. I mean, like, he would just yell it out. You know, we were shooting, the camera was rolling, and I was running around there on the deck of the ship, up on the bridge. And it's sometimes easy to improvise, but when you play a commanding officer of a U.S. Navy destroyer, it's not always easy to improvise. Like when you radio stuff and you screen, like, because you want it has to be the lingo, the way they speak has to be right, obviously, and so it could definitely be a challenge if he was like, well, try this, and, you know, radio this to John Paul Jones, the other ship, and and I would do it, and I'll be like, okay, how do I do that? Like, how do I even start? But we had Captain Rick from the Navy there with us, he was always on set with us, and phenomenal. It was just great having him. He was always there, and I would, like, the camera would roll, and I would be like, Captain Rick, what do I do? What do I say? And he'd shout something, and then I would do that, and we messed up a lot, but we had a lot of fun.
Battleship seems like such a big, spectacular, entertaining film, and I know you've seen some footage already. What should we expect from it? A lot of action, entertainment? I mean, it looks amazing.
Well, I hope. I haven't seen, they're still editing it, so I haven't seen it all cut together yet, but I hope it's both. I hope, like I said, to me the most important thing is, or my job is to make people care about Stone and his brother Hopper and their relationship, and feel, that there is love there, and that they want these guys to succeed. And so hopefully you care about the characters, the relationships, but it'll also be very big and entertaining at the same time.
Visually, what did you think so far, what you saw?
It's fantastic. It's pretty big. They've done an amazing job. And that's interesting, like, because obviously when we shot it, it's a lot of green screen, obviously. So it was fun to finally watch it cut together, our reactions to everything that goes on around it.